encourage your soul, enlighten your mind, and empower your faith. This is the Light Network. If you want to be a serious Bible student, a successful servant, and a powerful preacher, this is the podcast for you. Hello and welcome to Preachers in Training. I'm Robert Hatfield, and this is the podcast on which we discuss all things preaching and ministry. It is January. That means that the first full week of February is coming up really soon. And that means that it's time for Doug Burleson to return to talk about the Freed-Hardeman Lectureship. How are you, sir?
Hey, very good. Glad to be back with you.
Thank you for taking some time for us. Appreciate that.
I love this time of year.
Yeah, well, it's like the song that never ends for you, I feel like.
Sort of.
Okay.
But the Super Bowl's been moved. It's no longer on the opening night of Lectureship.
Isn't that something, by the way?
I mean,
that was nice of them to do
we
that.
pulled some strings.
Nice. Dr. Doug Burleson, Associate Professor of Bible at Freed-Hardeman, Assistant Dean of the College of Biblical Studies, and the Director of the Annual Bible Lectureship. Is there a pressure associated with all those things, but particularly the last one? I mean,
There is. We want to honor God first,
right.
But we also have a long tradition. This is our 87th year. I barely remember the first one, and so we want to respect that, but we also want to be, I think it's ministry. You want to be rooted in the word. You want to be relevant, but you've got 3,000 of your closest friends evaluating that. and you become a meme in a matter of minutes. And so it's just, but there's a lot of good, and it's a great team. Mm-hmm. We're blessed.
There is a whole committee of people who serve under your direction and leadership. And I know that's a blessing. And those guys are all listed in the brochures and all that stuff, the book and all that stuff that comes out. But we appreciate what you all do. It means a whole lot to us. This year is restoring God's people for such a time as this, restoring God's people in Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther. That's exciting.
It really is. Yeah. We think about trying to be rooted in the text. I guess since about the last 25 years, it's always been a textual study. Mm-hmm. And we generally go Old Testament to New Testament, back and forth. And part of it, selfishly, is just what have we not done? Mm-hmm. I'm thinking that we might could do Romans again, since it's been 23 years since we've touched that. Yes. But we do have some people who pay attention to that. Mm-hmm. And we have, even on our website, a place you can go and look at all of our past themes. So, that's a part of the discussion. What have we not done? Mm-hmm. But I think it's also important to note, we want to study the whole counsel of God. It's every time we have a retreat, we have somebody's job. It's their job to basically make sure we maintain balance, look at everything we've done. We try to keep a 40-60, that's not really balance, but a 40-60 perspective where at least 40% of what we do is exegetically based. The other 60 is still textually based, but it's about ministry and application, contemporary questions, because there's hopefully something for everyone, but it's connected to truth and relevant for life in the church. So that's a big part of how that very organic, sometimes random process. David Lipe always said it's like herding cats. I may be one of those cats, but it's a great team to be a part of.
Yeah. Do I remember that the lectureship that almost wasn't, what was that? 2021. Was this supposed to be what that was, or have we already done that now?
We've already done that. Okay. It was supposed to be Luke, and last year we did the Gospel of Luke.
Okay, all right. That's what I'm thinking about.
We did Ecclesiastes in 2021.
Yes.
Which was perfect timing.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people were feeling that kind of vanity of vanities. Mm-hmm. But it was very good and relevant, and it allowed us to think in a fresh way about some things that because we were separated and thinking about the book being interrupted and maybe restarting that in a different format, mm-hmm. or the program itself, trying to serve congregations in a more intentional way.
Yeah. So the book has transformed considerably.
It has.
Yeah. I know it's not, we were talking before we started. I know that's not a new thing necessarily anymore. I mean, you mentioned that change happened in 2021. here we are in 2023. So it's new enough, right? Maybe
Right.
it's worth a refresher on what the book situation is for the lectureship these days.
Well, a lot of us are blessed as preachers, especially to have on our shelves years of Freed-Hardeman Lectureship books.
Mhm.
And when Brother David Light took over, it went from maroon to blue
Yes.
because it was his baby then. And in 2016, when I started doing this, we went back to maroon because it was thought to be time for that kind of a change.
Okay.
And that book served a great purpose.
Mhm.
It was viewed as an index, a resource that people could go to, and it served as a commentary, a place to get perspectives on things. And I think that purpose is a very good God honoring purpose. The challenge is with all of the things that are available now, and with a program that has reached out to Spanish speaking peoples, and there's more for teens and for kids and for women and for college students.
Mhm.
A lot of our stuff maybe wasn't quite as academic as it maybe was perceived as being at one point.
Mm.
And so there was this sort of double-edged reality of that change, and then what are congregations going to benefit from? I think there were some people who may buy the book because they wanted to keep the set going.
Right.
I've got to have the book.
Yeah.
And as much as that is a fine thing, is that really what's best for what we're trying to do?
Mhm.
And so we did this in 2021. Last year we put out 2 books, one for a ladies study book, the other for just a general lectureship book. We did that again this year. I don't
Mhm.
know how long that will go, because editing 2 books instead of 1 is certainly
Yeah.
more. But we've also done videos with these books as a
Mhm.
way of trying to encourage congregations, especially places that don't have preachers. Uh, in the last 2 or 3 years, that's become more of a need, more of a reality, I think.
Mhm.
So this year, all 27 of our writers are on the regular program.
Wow.
You can come hear the person who wrote the article and hear that material presented. So, and partnering in a way so that you can buy them in person or through Amazon. You can get it PDF, Kindle. We've tried to make this something that if a person is on the mission field and they can not get to Henderson, they want to watch us online, they can order the book and it comes
Mhm.
straight to them for a lot cheaper than it would have been otherwise.
Yeah. And so the opportunities there too, in addition to just changes. I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
opportunities in those changes, which is pretty neat. Books have, as strange it is to say, books have come a long way, even in the last decade or so. I mean,
Yeah.
thanks to Kindle Direct Publishing, Amazon, that kind of thing. So it's pretty cool.
It might surprise people that the lectureship has always been, there's been a creative energy there.
Mm.
And it's really the committee who prayerfully considers these things. And our goal is to serve the kingdom. We, of course, are affiliated with Freed-Hardeman and want
Mhm.
Freed-Hardeman as an institution to be successful, but it's really about what serves the church, what encourages our students, what's
Mhm.
most useful. And we made the decision that it was time to be a little bit more intentional about the book. And change is hard. Sometimes people like that, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Generational change, especially, but we hope the lectureship is still a place where everybody comes and can benefit. And whether they buy the book or not, whether they wear a tie or not, whether
Right.
they go to this session or that session, truth is taught. That's
That's
what we
right.
want
Yeah.
most.
Yeah. You mentioned Freed-Hardeman's, certainly in the spotlight with the Annual Bible Lectureship, as it should be. Uh, the campus itself offers a lot to the lectureship itself. I mean, breakout opportunities and opportunities to spread people out in different tracks, which makes a lot of that, I'm sure, possible. Just the footprint of that is helpful. And then I think about one of my daughter's favorite features, which is the kids' lectureship. And I know that there are a lot of people, students, certainly a part of that, who make that kind of thing possible as well. You want to talk about the kids' lectureship a little bit?
Yeah, the College of Education took that baby on
Mm.
about 8 or 9 years ago when I started doing this, and our thought initially was we're training young people to spend their lives teaching children. We're thinking 5th grade and down, and then
Mhm.
6th grade to 12th grade's the teen lectureship, and they have Bible classes, they have activities. The rule is basically, are they potty trained
Yeah,
and able to walk? Before that, it might be a little bit more challenging, but we have
seems reasonable.
yeah,
Yeah.
we have facilities for moms who are nursing children too and all that. But it's just being able to let people do what they do well as a part of serving has been a beautiful thing. I mean, this year, the College of Nursing, they're one of our vendors, and they're going to be taking samples as a way to help with bone marrow transplant needs. And it's just really an incredible, even the athletics department allowing us to have the Brewer Sports Center all week. It's just a team effort, and we're indebted to the whole campus, really.
Are there special tracks or any a portion of the lectureship? I mean, I think we all sort of get the idea, right? You come, you have a bunch of choices, a lot of hard decisions, because you guys always put great speakers at the same time. Like, why can't you avoid that? But anyway, I'm filing my complaint. Is there any aspect of the lectureship that you'd like to highlight? Now, we've talked to kids lectureship, the book. I know there are just a ton of tracks that really makes Freed-Hardeman fairly unique. There are some other programs in the Brotherhood that do things like this, but it's just special right here. Everything's so easy to get to, and it's all sort of yoked together under this theme. I mean, you want to highlight anything?
Yeah, I like to talk about the new stuff. Like, for example, we have book series. If you buy the book and you want to hear those folks, you can stay in the same place.
Oh, that's handy.
9:30, 12:30. I mean, it's the same venue, and that's where those are going to be presented. We have some difficult topics that we're going to be addressing in some series. We always have contemporary concerns, and every book yields its own questions, but sexual ethics especially, I think anybody that has their finger on the pulse of culture knows that gender identity and sexuality, we try to be relevant without being offensive, but maybe talk about some things that are difficult to talk about in congregational life. A lot of singing. We've always enjoyed that. And people like John Hall and John Wiegand and Jesse Eaton have been a big part of helping us pull that together. The workshops, I mean, Spanish speaking workshops, kind of the prescript to lectureship, but then a parenting enrichment workshop with Steve and Stephanie Miner on Wednesday of the program. And we have a large deaf community that comes, and we offer hearing impaired services for them. And so it's just really a neat reality where there's something for everybody. And we want people to comb through the program and find their favorite speakers. I remember as a student one time, I'm one of 6 options. It's one morning, and it's like Clyde Woods, Billy Smith, William Woodson, Alan Hires. I'm thinking I wouldn't want to hear myself. I mean, this is
exactly.
And
I want to go someplace else.
Yeah. Thinking about that in the balconies and where you put people, and we're just blessed to have so many options. It's a real challenge. Even every year, there are so many speakers you want to include, and you've got 150 places, and you think, oh, that's plenty of space. And then you finish and you've got, a ledger pad full of people that you're hoping to bring in 2024.
Something that I think our audience will be intrigued by is preaching the prophets of the time every morning at 8:30, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in Auditorium D. And so we're talking contemporaries during the time. So we're based in Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther, and you've got how to preach Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. That'll be neat. Yeah.
We hope so. We were thinking these are difficult books to study, difficult books to preach, but it also raises chronological awareness and just some connection to a text that we don't often associate. So that's the blessing of having a group of people who think about things that I don't always think about. And everybody brings something to the table. And that retreat we have every March is, I laugh and probably will cry a few times, but just to see guys come to the table with Bibles and resources and thinking about how can we best do this. That's my favorite part of this.
Donnie DeBoard, Preacher's Toolbox. That's sort of become a staple now in the program the last several years, right?
Yeah.
Preparing better expository sermons, doctrinal sermons, and how to preach on special occasions.
I'm excited about that one because we all struggle with it. And some of that's where you are.
Well, and sometimes you feel like I've preached 5 Mother's Day sermons now here, like
it's New Year's again. Oh no,
that's right.
How does this happen so much?
I know. Yeah.
Well, and that's fun because I remember David Shannon was a big part of that conversation early on, who's of course on the committee. And he said, we want preachers to leave with something in their hand that they can preach. I always left lectureship with ideas and sermons, and we always try to pair people who have unique skill sets. We've had Chris McCurley and Corey Collins, and I mean, this year having, Chad and Keith Parker and Chad Ramsey on that together. What a combo. That's going to be fun.
Right. Yeah, that will be neat. Youth and family ministry workshop as well that'll be taking place. I know you mentioned that a minute ago. A lot of our listeners ask for us to talk about topics like that, and it's not always within the direct purview of what this podcast is for. We do try and work it in from time to time, but I know that youth ministers, family ministers, and however you want to run that gambit or that spectrum, they're looking for things that can help to enrich them as well.
Well, that is one of the things I'm most excited about, because we handed the keys to that workshop to some guys who are in the trenches of youth and family ministry. Philip Jenkins, John David Swartz, Ben McGreevy, and they organized that program. And one of the things they're doing is they have a track for those who are seasoned in that area of ministry and those who are brand new. And there's a lot of brainstorming, a lot of energy. I'm trying to keep up with those guys. I mean, they're so creative, and they encourage me every time we talk. So as of yesterday, we had 87 pre-registered for just that workshop.
Oh, wow.
And so I am, to quote one of those cool guys, I'm super pumped about that opportunity.
You sound cooler already.
Feeling cool.
This podcast, this episode's releasing on January the 19th, which means, let's see, what, two and a half-ish weeks, a little less than, from when the lectureship begins on Sunday, February 5th, and when this episode is being released. So
I love it.
There's a little bit of time.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
It really is a big reunion, a celebration. We always have a few surprises, and right now people may be surprised with how much construction there is happening around here, but most of the program happens on the other side of campus.
That's good.
And we'll try to keep people out of the mud.
And it's all for a good cause.
Oh,
that Chick-fil-A is going to be great. I'm told there's a dining hall attached to it as well, but I mean, that's not my primary focus. I'm sorry.
A cafetiere flowing with Chick-fil-A sauce is a wonderful thought.
That's correct.
It's the cafeteria of promise.
Flowing with.
We can't wait to see it.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is great. Wow. I'm looking at FHU.edu/lectureship. That's where you need to go. There's a ton of stuff here. You're going to have to spend, 15 or 20 minutes with this schedule, have a highlighter or a pen to circle or, star or highlight or whatever. So you kind of know what you want to do. There's tons of opportunities through this that I know you're going to be interested in.
If you're an app person.
Yes. Oh, yes.
We have a brand new.
Oh, it's been
we've never done this before. Designed for Android and/or iOS devices. It's got a schedule that you can personalize, so that if there are things you want,
I like that,
as push notifications, I mean, all the bells and whistles.
Wow!
So that is going to be amazing. You can download it now. We will have print copies of the full schedule the week of. University did not produce a second issue of Seasons this year, and so our mailer was a little bit different than it has been. So if there are any people who are thinking, I want to go through and mark that out, you can download it and do that. You can get the app, but those are the options right now in terms of the best ways to do that.
What's the app called?
That's a great question. You can go to the Lectureship webpage.
Oh, okay.
And there's a button there that says download mobile app, or something like that.
Yes.
And it will take you to the option of whether we've never had an Android app.
This is so new.
And so I won't tell you how much we budgeted to do this, but it's exciting.
Yeah.
And the Bramlett group helped us to pull this off. And
I see that. So it's just, if you go to FHU.edu/lectureship, over to the right, there's a little gray menu, click Lectureship mobile app, and there it is. Right there.
It is.
Tells you what
to download the PDF if you're a PDF user, and
register.
We're honoring John DeBerry this year as our honoree. What a great man. So lots of opportunities.
there are like hundreds of people involved in this by the time it's all said and done, right? I mean, it'd be hard to quantify.
It's dangerous to start naming people you're
Right.
thankful for.
Yeah.
I suppose that's always true, but there are lots. It's a community, and
Yeah.
the stewardship of trying to build on something that has a great history, but do that as a person who's blessed to be a part of a whole host of people who want this to be successful is humbling and exciting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther is going to be fantastic. And I am very excited about this year. But you guys just tucked away there at the bottom of something or at the end of something. Oh, by the way, 2024 is going to be on this. Do you want to reveal that for our audience if they haven't seen it yet?
Yeah, if you haven't seen this, we always try to reveal next year's theme because we're working on it already. But the book of Revelation, worthy is the Lamb. And it's a humbling thing to be engaged in. But I've always said in class, I've said lots of things about Revelation, but one of my fears is,
and most of them are true. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. We either ignore it or we build our whole religion on it.
Right.
And surely there's a way to approach this book. And I know you don't have to look very far to see strong opinions on what the symbols of Revelation are representing. But I think it will be, the other challenge is there's so much to be made of apocalyptic literature and parts of Daniel and Ezekiel that we also want to avoid. So we will look forward to a great lectureship. The opening reception will maybe be passing out Tylenol, but it will be a wonderful experience. And
that's great.
We want to respect the book. We want to respect context.
Right.
We want to think about all those realities. And so I'm sure this year's lectureship retreat will be the first time we've talked about plagues and dragons and bowls of wrath quite as much as we will for 2024.
You don't always talk about it quite that much is what you're saying. Okay, that's great. Yeah, you could just do the lectureship on the first 3 chapters and that'd be at least a little less controversial.
You've just described my preaching career.
Oh, yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well,
you forgot the last 2.
Oh, and then you have the last 2.
That's right. Good.
Then you're okay. You mentioned something about the opening reception that I don't know that I was aware of until last year. Maybe I don't think it was brand new last year, was it?
No, it's been around for
a while.
6-7 years, something like that.
But if you come on Sunday, you can be a part of the Sunday night reception, which is from 6 to 6:45 this Sunday, February 5th of the lectureship. That's cool.
Yeah, it gives people a chance to. A lot of people are traveling that day. A lot of us have just finished preaching in our local congregations, and we're trying to get there. And it builds in some time for people to get registered, for people to visit. Last year, it was in honor of our departed brother, Eugene Springer, who had been attending the lectures for 60 plus years. We're working on a similar surprise this year.
Oh, fun.
So it's just a really pleasant way. One of the key ideas is to be hospitable. That's a Christian principle. And I feel like sometimes with big events, especially those of us who may look like we're running around trying to put out fires all week, we're really glad people are there. And we want to make that clear, even when things are busy and maybe aren't always going as we had planned for them to. And that starts with the president, works its way all the way down through the committee and the campus. And so hopefully people will feel that when and there's coffee. I mean,
that's right.
Got to have.
And conversation. The schedule says. So you have both. And then you get to hear President David Shannon, which is.
It'll be a great night.
Absolutely, it will.
And then you hit the ground Monday morning with immediately there are options everywhere and opportunities. And so
many options. You have to have a color code.
We do
down at the bottom of every scale of every
so
page.
I'm not sure how helpful that is.
It is helpful. Yeah,
we inherited that from the bygone era of printing a schedule that had color coded lines, and we hated and it is helpful, but this tracks can pile up pretty quickly, and but hopefully people can personalize that, and also know a lot of people get back for Wednesday night Bible study and maybe after chapel on Wednesday have to head out. We try to build the schedule where if people can be there the whole week, it's going to fill them up. If not, there's still something there they can take home.
workshops, parenting enrichment workshop, Friends of the Restoration, youth and family workers workshop, topical tracks, textual studies, contemporary concerns, leadership, ministry, missions, and preaching, special topics, the Christian and culture, the book series. That's the lectureship book.
That's right.
Okay. Faith in crisis, questions of character, singing, and human sexuality and gender identity. And then especially for families, teens, women, and students.
Yes.
It's going to be a great week.
It helps us to keep it organized. My favorite page in the whole thing is the at a glance. We're able to just see, that's where the alliteration shows up. That's where the
you can really appreciate
we wrestled
that
with
stuff.
This word for an hour.
Yes.
Back in March, but it for those who really maybe want to take some of these ideas and preach them even. There's some series there, some opportunities there, and I also love the fact most of those have a text associated with them.
Right.
That's intentional.
All right. Well, we appreciate you for telling us about all this and all the work that's happened to make this possible. That's great.
Thank you.
Do you get any reprieve just for a moment to breathe after the lectureship closes before you hit that March retreat? Or
we do. We sent out a survey.
Okay.
And
So while you're waiting on the survey results, you rest.
We rest and we think about, it's a bit of a time of reflection. If there's anything that was obviously not the way we wanted it to be, but generally that's about a 4-week period. And just with travel and compiling the books and putting all the communication together, you pretty much turn around and start over. But it's an opportunity that is unique, and we find, you can participate in this and not give $1 to participate other than what food and housing may cost. I hope that's the way, I believe that's the way it will always be. You can get all the recordings on a jump drive. You can, participate in opportunities for fellowship and networking connections. The streaming, we've improved that this year. If somebody can't be here, they can watch for free online, everything on the main floor of Lloyd. So we're wanting to improve every year and target some areas we can get better in. The app was one of those areas this year.
Wow. And
so it's a humbling opportunity to minister to a large group of people that you care about, that you want to grow in faith.
Yeah. All right. 87th Annual Freed-Hardeman Bible Lectureship, February 5th through the 9th, 2023. There are many ways to watch and participate if you're so inclined. And we hope that you are.
Yes.
I remember when we were in Charleston and I just didn't have the time away to come to Freed-Hardeman as well as meet other family obligations, or let's be honest, preaching obligations in other places. And watching on that live stream, it just made me feel like I was there, at least to some degree. And that was always really neat. I appreciated that a lot.
Well, we want everyone to feel welcome.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, we hope that you'll be a part of that, and we want to see you. If you're going to be around, let us know. Light Network's supposed to be in the exhibit hall a little bit, so you'll see us there. We're excited about that. So come check us out.
It's packed, by the way.
Is it packed?
There's a waiting list.
Oh, wow.
So we've added tables and are at capacity.
Oh,
so that's a good sign.
Okay.
Yeah,
that is good. All right. So you may have to look hard to find us, but we'll be there. Let us know if you're coming. Hey, that's going to do it for this edition of Preachers in Training. Hope you'll join us next week for season 17, episode 3. We're talking understanding money, and Dale Hubbard is going to join us to discuss that a little bit. Tax season is coming up. I'm sorry I brought that up, but anyway, it's something for us to think about. So we're looking forward to taxing him with some questions to help us out along the way. Don't forget, you can find us at thelightnetwork.tv. Search for us on your favorite podcast app at Preachers in Training, and subscribe on the YouTube channel if you're so inclined, and you can see our lovely faces in addition to hearing our lovely voices. Thanks for being a part today. Until next time, let's go preach the word.